Right.
Now, take your
Mine. Oh, there goes So should I just talk into Rick's?
At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the April 12th budget workshop meeting. April 10th workshop meeting, I apologize. This meeting is being held with the benefit of public notice as required by the Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Vaccaro?
Here.
Ms. Phillips?
Here.
Mr. Klein?
Here.
Mr. Carabelli?
Here.
Mr. Rayl?
Here. Please rise for the salute of the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you please remain standing? Dear God, whose love knows no bounds, strengthen our hearts with compassion and generosity, and may we build this Hamilton community up in all we do. May we look to serve you as you taught us and spread your message of hope and love. We make all of these intentions and those in the silence of our heart. Amen.
Amen. So, welcome everyone tonight. We're going to do our finance workshop first. Being this year, I guess you're going to start us off, give us an opening statement.
Good evening. Okay, don't move it too much. Good evening, Council President, Council Administrator, and members of Hamilton. Just wanted to go over the finance division basically consists of the finance department, the tax collector, which is revenue, and also the tax assessor area. As you know, we have been going through a lot of changes in the area. We have, Dan and myself, we're both new. This is our first year with Hamilton Township. And upon arriving, we basically, the finance division has gone through a little bit of reorganization. And as you can see, it's reflecting some of the salaries and wages between the finance department, the tax assessor area, as well as the revenue area. The revenue area in the tax collectors area, one of some positions were gotten rid of, and we converted to a half a position that is being shared between the tax assessor and the tax collector. And some of the positions, as people left, they were not filled. In finance, we had to add some positions in that area, and as is reflected in the salaries and wages. Then there are some changes also in the operating expenses of the different areas. In finance administration, you're going to see a huge decrease in the OE, and that is due to the fact that we went for RFP, and the RFP is paying for some of the prime point of the payroll services. So that is being reflected in the finance operating expenses. Then the audit services, they went up. The RFP that they submitted was a little bit higher because the last two audits were very challenging for them. And in revenue administration, there's an increase. When last year we discovered that online tax sale was being paid out of the revenue account. And so and that is completely against the rules. They never budgeted for the online tax sale, for the vendor that they pay. They never budgeted properly as part of the operating. What they used to do is they used to pay it right out of the revenue account, and it decreased the revenue because of that. So last year we ended up transferring money into the tax collector so she could pay for the online tax sale vendor, and we increased the budget to reflect that this year. So that's going to be a huge increase. In the tax assessor, it's Dan can go a little bit more. One, two, three. I don't know if you read him. Their new tax assessor, he can go a little bit more into it, what basically, what the office, what's going on in the office, how many appeals has he had, and all of that. And it's something new for him. There are some things that he's required to do that we're hoping to get it in there with the budget that we have. And we don't know whether it was in the budget in the prior years or not. This is going to be basically the first budget for him to see if he can get things done that he's required to. And in the tax assessment, we moved his legal fees into a tax appeal line item. And the reason being is because we put it outside the cap as a tax appeal. If that line item later on, if not all the funds are being used for that, we can start building reserve for tax appeals. And I would gladly take any questions you may have, or anything else you need regarding the different areas. Any more information?
The light isn't even
Just
out.
put it in the middle. It'll pick up everybody.
Testing.
Testing.
Come on, everyone. Technical difficulty. It's just the one that doesn't need lessons on voice projection.
Yes, it's true.
Yep.
Testing.
So thank you, Jenny, for that, for the presentation. I appreciate the notes under some of the line items that there may be some questions on, that you alluded to, some of them in the revenue collection department, and then, in some of the other departments. One thing that I did notice right off the bat was the finance, salary, and wages. And I guess, just if you could just break that down for me, that was, I know that we're budgeting 515. It looks like, there's been some positions that have switched over and now are in that line item, correct?
Yes, and in the tax collector, there were, I believe, 2 people that have left so far in 2022. And out of those 2, they have been replaced with 1 half person for the tax collector, that they are sharing 50% of the time with the tax collector, and then the other 50% with the tax assessor. The tax assessor, that position, they had 1 vacancy, so
Okay.
he was basically replaced by only half a person.
Okay.
And in finance, thank you for approving, we have the controller to come over and help, and that is the additional salary.
But there's only really 1 additional employee to the finance department. I noticed it went from 4 to 5 from 2022 to 2023
Right.
Yes.
this year.
We added that controller position.
And then we're taking on another position from another division.
And if you recall, this came as a recommendation from Kendra Roberts, his firm, when he was consulting with finance for the year, as we brought him in to do just that. So his recommendation was that, as Eugenia pointed out, was to kind of get more efficiencies out of the staffing that we had, and when vacancies occurred. So we also had savings. If you see the salary and wage in the tax assessor's office is lower because we had 2 retirements there, and so we've had a shift of staff in there as well. So that allowed us to save, if you will, and we were using that so that we could add that.
And then you have the interest revenue.
Oh, the interest rate.
Right.
Yes, that's great.
And
That's great.
actually, the
Yes, I
recommendation
think
from government strategists was, in comparison with other towns like River and Edison, which are the same size as here, they were recommending also for a few additional positions for each one of the areas.
Okay. Under the revenue collection tax collector section, Chair, do you want to stay on just finance, or
No,
do you jump around?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. The other professional consultant services, I know you mentioned this. Just explain to me that once again. I was trying to follow along.
They have we have in the tax collectors area, just to give you an idea, last year, the tax sale, the accelerated tax sale that we had in finance, they started in November with 3,696 line items that we're going to tax. And that's what they did advertise. And then by the time finally they came to the tax sale, they only have 1,214 line items. So if they use more line tax sale, that has to greater space, and and that is about $75,000. Take it or leave it depending on how many line items you ended up actually
So we're now we're going to put that in the budget now.
Yes, because what they were doing, they were paying out of the revenue account.
Gotcha. Yep, that makes sense. Okay.
Any other questions? Rick? Chapter 5, Nancy?
Let's do one more time. I don't have
The
anything.
complaint I have from the mayor is that the budget's so tight this month.
Yeah.
That's a complaint we gave him last time.
I'll just reiterate what Councilman Jones said. The notes were so helpful in going through the budget to really, that's how we really know. You manage, you have it all built into any questions that we have.
I mean, I always look for, and maybe the mayor told you this, I look for like a number that jumps out at me from the previous year. And a number that did jump out at me from the previous year, I assessed the legal services, but there's a complete explanation on why that was taken out. The one line I've been put in that line item. So that gives me comfort. So.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in charge of all those little details.
All right, nobody else has any more questions? Very good. Tax assessor? Right. Well, that being said then, I don't think we have any more questions from council. Did we miss anything, Eugene? We covered it all?
And I miss this, Kathy. Oh, and you, what's our, what are we at, like 98% with the accelerated tax sale collection rate?
Over 100.
Yeah.
Yes, in fact, I think it was almost 99%.
Collection.
99.88.
Yes.
Okay.
That's good.
Way up there.
It's way up there.
Sorry.
Well, but, you know, you can do something online and then that really is great. It takes the allows more better for the residents that unfortunately have to be impacted.
Well, we thank you, Gina, for all the work your department did and all the information we needed to go over the budget. your department, and if we have any more further comments, down the road, we'll address it, I guess that would be May 4th if we need to,
Okay,
but I don't think we will.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
All right, next bring Chief up.
Thank you.
Good to see you tonight.
Well, no, the reason that string's there is so when it goes back underneath, we can pull it back out, but unfortunately, somebody got a hold of it and ripped it completely out. We have to, that's why I put a work order in for Public Works to come back.
Mine's off.
Mine's off.
Okay. As soon as the chief's ready, then we'll get rolling. Take your time.
This is Mike just
Just talk really loud.
Good evening, members of council. As your fire chief, let me again thank you for the opportunity to lead our fire division. Hamilton Fire Division is an all-hazards capable emergency response division of 136 responders, 1 chief, 2 deputies, responsible for operations, training, safety, and health, 8 battalion chiefs, 1 fire marshal, 1 logistics captain, 1 training captain, 1 fire prevention specialist, and 32 company captains, and 89 firefighters. We staff 4 engines, 2 ladders, 1 hazardous materials squad, and 1 rescue at 7 stations. Daily, 3 of the engines are staffed with 1 captain and 2 firefighters, 1 engine is staffed with 1 captain and 3 firefighters, 2 ladders in the rescue are staffed with 1 captain and 3 firefighters, and the hazardous materials squad is staffed with 1 captain and 4 firefighters. The Fire Prevention Bureau is headed by a fire marshal with 1 full-time and 6 part-time fire prevention specialists. In 2022, they inspected 810 life hazard uses and 1,932 non-life hazard uses. The Bureau investigated 60 fires for origin and cause. To date, they have investigated 12 fires for cause and origin, and they have inspected 269 life hazard uses and 849 non-life hazard uses. The training division is coordinating and continuing education of 86 emergency medical technicians, as well as the rescue task force, which is our active shooter program, and hazardous materials technician training. In addition of all the required fire training, fire suppression, and rescue. We operate out of 8 facilities, 4 of which are owned by the municipality, 2 are jointly owned by the municipality and volunteer fire company, and 2 are owned by the volunteer fire company. 7 of these facilities are staffed at all. The fleet consists of 4 frontline engines, 2 ladders, 1 squad, and 1 rescue, and the reserve fleet consists of engines varying ages, which I have to specify with you. In 2022, the division responded to 6,778 calls for service, 48% being fire-related and 42 emergency medical service. This year to date, we've responded to 1,699 calls for service, with 49% being fire and 45 emergency medical service. Watching this operational budget pretty closely, many items purchased in the last 2 years on by grant or equipment quality managed by fire districts prior to consolidation. We primarily base this year's request on last year's expenditures, and we are constantly vigilant about I also have the OEM budget for expenditures and give it to the fire department. Anything about that budget, we look to combine the police department OEM format. I hope you saw that we use the hazardous materials out of the OEM budget, and it's all in the fire budget. And we have it.
So moving the hazardous materials out of OEM to fire, what's the rationale for that?
Office of Emergency Management and hazardous materials are two separate disciplines. It was, I think it made sense for the police department when they had hazardous materials and OEM. However, what we did was we staffed a hazardous materials engine full time, The cops did it on basically a part-time basis for a callback system. We're working on getting 4 firefighters on duty at a time, training hazardous materials. 96% and upwards of hazardous materials assignments are flammable liquids, so it makes a lot of sense to have the fire department. It is a joint venture with the police department, we're very excited about, so the police department's still very well involved. We just took charge of that budget, so. And we have a lot of qualified firefighters that have taken an OEM education, and we've had a lot of success in moving into much more robust office.
How many, roughly, you may not know off the top of your, I don't expect you to know off the top of your head, but roughly how many hazardous materials calls do we get per year in Hamilton?
Hard to answer because the police department the whole system, so I'd have to the police department to find their numbers. They only call us out when they either expanded or it's on the liquids and other comprehensive calls, so I'm sorry, but I couldn't get that answer.
That-
for you, but I don't have it.
That's fine. Don't go crazy with it.
So, I noticed on the current budget appropriations page, fairly nominal salary. And obviously, I appreciate your, your conservative approach. You actually, on the O&E, it went down almost 7%. Just help me understand a little bit of the O&E, if you wouldn't mind, on some of the line items. I just made a few notes. Under computer and maintenance, I noticed obviously it's spelled out the 75,000, what that all goes towards, which I can appreciate, and it's also beneficial for us to see it laid out that way. How is that different from in 2022?
Yes, sir. One of the things, some of these items were purchased through the grant, the DCA grant, so, and it was for rebranding, so it fit the description to spend that expenditure with grant monies. But now this year, obviously, the grants. One of those would be Power DMS, which is the same police department for policy and SOCs. That's a $7,500 item annually. Pro Phoenix for the fire prevention. Oh no, I'm sorry, that was already in there. I believe the NOx class subscription.
Well, explain. Yeah. That grant, that what was it, 1.2 million? That's right up now. We've allocated.
We've been very a lot of help from the DPA. Second floor, hopefully that goes well.
Okay. And then on page 3, we talk about maintenance of other equipment.
Let's go.
On a roll.
So, I know it's. No, but I like to have just understand it. I mean, it's clearly laid out once again, the 63,000 that's allocated there in the budget. I know you originally requested it's larger than what we spent in our actual from 2022. Is that also a little bit?
The annual host testing, ground lag testing, which is there was a resolution that came in.
Okay.
We have this up in there that we copy. We're trying to get from 5 to 3, but we do have contracts with the aerial testing is locked in for 3 years now, so at least that number will remain steady after this year. And we did do some kind of from the OEM budget.
Okay.
On the same page, excuse me, I noticed a 33% increase in the maintenance of the motor vehicles. I was just curious, is that more related to us, because I know we approved new engines last year and some new equipment just recently at the meetings. Is that related to waiting, because it's not coming in time, the age, inflation?
Yes, John and I both know, I'm sorry, Deputy Chief Patel and I both know. I actually gave consideration prior to these two. We sold a truck before the first round that was elected this week. So I did we're getting things like computers, other stuff where the first few is smaller. There is a curve where it gradually goes up, but we are seeing that. Tires, that we had the tires replaced at the end of last year, so we're hoping, so we actually asked for less than the second tires, that the tires will go on at the end of 2022 again.
Are we waiting for some, just because of COVID? I know there's been a lot of delays in trucks and things like that.
Waiting for a vehicle.
Right, vehicles or an engine, that this cost will eventually come back down. We'll have some newer.
There is an engine on the line, I think May next year, projected date. So, yeah, that's I bought one of these trucks. I just thought how it would work. Not to mention the 44 miles. We're looking at other ways to try to resolve that place.
Sell some of these vehicles, I mean, if they're beyond their life expectancy, where it's costing so much to maintain them, who's going to buy it?
In the industry, there's rural departments that pick them up, they can do it overseas. They're so bad, they'll probably end up at all. They're not
Sure.
One of the fire trucks from the airport. It's supposed to get it sold for scrap. Beyond this.
Yeah.
This was a decrease, so electrical and communication supplies, is that because it was reassigned? Another line item?
So what was
Electrical and communication supplies. I mean, it's not a large amount, but it was.
Well, actually, yeah, we made the operating budget, which was, did a lot of, the first one last year's budget, there was items for last year.
Okay.
We kind of got ahead of that money at the end of the year, about that. We kind of brought the whole thing down.
Okay. While we're on that theme of reduced line item, I saw also a significant drop in building rental, and that has to do with, I'm assuming that has to do with the buying of Nottingham, right, the firehouse. I was also going to say the contract with Colonial, that expiring.
Yes, legal's been excellent with this, and so are the volunteer fire companies. We look to, we're poised to purchase all these, we're in talks, and that's going very well, so yes, those should start to go, rental fees should start to go in, we should.
What's the status with Colonial?
Colonial, we have, I caught myself in the legal negotiation. One has shown interest, to talk.
All right, good.
Very, very strong interest, very, very good interest, that we did want to look at this on now.
Good.
This would be the last of all of the.
Yeah.
Well,
Chief, thanks for coming, first of all. Looking at page 11, we'll start there and work back. Education and training, I'm all for education, just, it's up 63%. I just wanted to know, what you were looking at
yes.
to go from, because we appropriated 44 and only used 18,000.
Yeah, last year we didn't do the big one. That was done annually now, we only did biannually, so it didn't work. So we did it annually, but we also stick pulled out. Basically double the time. One, and last year we didn't do it. We do it twice a year, but now we'll do it once every year, but now we'll do it. Still more economic than sending you to an outside to do it.
Understand. Thank you. On the next page, number 12. I'm saying that, the purchase of vehicles, line item down, 50%. I guess you had requested 74. Oh, what's the change there?
Command units that were previously purchased, they have been moved to capital lease.
Okay.
The rescue trucks we're hoping to purchase out, so we get rid of that annual lease that we're paying Mercer Fire Company for that truck.
Okay.
Oh, we requested two vehicles.
Say that again?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, we moved it. It was moved from hand
And page 14 for communications, I see is up 20%. What is the, is that for something that we added, or is that price from outside vendor? Well, the last one, telecommunications.
Well, we're simultaneously, the MVP from the vehicles are going from Sierra units to Korean points. Also, we're looking at, unit for fire department. So we thought it best to have the same unit. So unfortunately, we're going to run simultaneously Imperial points and Sierra units at the same time before we get them all changed over. And then there's also an iPad for the which is also for data, so they can actually use the
I just had a quick question. I was about to calculate it, but since nobody else is jumping in. For the physicals for the firefighters,
Yeah.
so the request was 84,000, and it was budgeted 45,000. I mean, could we meet the needs of what we need to do with that reduction?
We decided to do a biannual. We haven't done this with firefighters yet. We also did it with the hazmat, but we know the level system, we definitely have to do the hazmat. So we decided to do a biannual, so biannual.
Okay.
So we'll send half the staff this year, and then we'll have half next year. The only underlying is that there is Senator Greenstein's pushing legislation through, which they're thankful for cancer screening. So we are looking at that, which is the best way to do that. So we do health insurance, and that we should run the fight.
Okay. Thank you.
So Chief, on just going back to Rescue 10 for a minute, how many years old is that vehicle? 12.
I tried to take them. In 1996.
It's a 96, and what's the lease arrangement with the volunteers?
The Mount Mercer Fire Department, volunteer fire company, purchased that and they did the commercial fire company, we housed the running truck and they just want to line up.
Would that be this 30?
32.5.
38,000, and maybe a little less now.
So that's not a lot. Type of vehicle, but that's a lot, it's got a lot of age on it.
So fingers crossed. It's aged, I said, the fingers crossed.
How much usage does it get? I mean, it is, how many is 96?
Well, it's rescue, so it is, what I purchased it for in the district model was, I believe that Hamilton rated a full-time rescue truck. So the concept was, we got it for, I think it was low 40s, high 40s, $40,000, and it is a stainless steel body. It's a nice truck to be refurbished if we're gonna go that route. But basically was as a test bed. It makes a lot of sense to buy a refurbished or an older piece of equipment, like I want a tender someday, and I'm not ready to ask you for that yet, which is a water tanker. But before you buy a $600, $700 million rescue truck's $1 million apparatus, it's nice to buy a $60,000 one, put it in service, and see if it meets your needs. So we are currently testing Rescue One. It started January 1st. So we do ride a full-time rescue truck. And the mayor came out, we did a nice expose in the paper about it, but I really believe we need that piece. So again, I'd rather show you the merit and the worth of that piece before I ask you for a $1.5 million rescue truck. It will make a nice reserve to the crib. If we get a brand new rescue truck, I think it will fit the bill of the reserve rescue truck to withstand backup. So some of those older trucks in that era are really.
Did you say Rescue 1? So we have Rescue 10 and Rescue 1?
Rescue 10 1. So all our, we're the 10 in Mercer County, we're 10 1.
All right. I said, all right. I don't know the lingo. And I can't always keep up with the lingo.
We were 12, 13, 14, 12, 13, engine 14. But when we started moving them around, then we had truck 17 at station 12, that my OCD went a little haywire.
Yeah.
So what we did, and I wanted the guys, the firefighters to have their own identity, so we we're more of a city model. So they have Rescue 10-1, Engine 10-1, Engine 10-2, Engine 10-3. So all our prefixes are 10, but within the township, we just use Engine 1 Rescue 1.
Okay. Learning all the time.
What other question?
Chief, I'm looking at salaries. What are we up as far as manpower from consolidation? How many firefighters total? What's our TL?
I think we've increased one position altogether. We're at 136 now.
Since consolidation, I thought we were up three.
I'm sorry.
Up three.
Is it four now with the one extra? I'm sorry, before being extra.
Yeah, it's on page.
I thought it to be three. So I'm just asking because I see salary only went up by 1%.
Oh, there it is.
Is that 2%?
It was like 2.6.
Okay.
I go.
2.5. On
Salary.
So,
the
1.97? Okay, thank you. So what I'm looking at is, talk about the elephant in the room because it's, it's come up. The overtime number.
Yes, sir.
It's constantly a struggle. It's a push and a pull. It's trying to get the compliance, but making sure that the town is safe at the same time. Is that number going to get us through the year without guys' days being denied, without people missing time? Is that workable number? Is that
Their days will be denied.
based on what?
What we do is we take the 2.5 or whatever number you agree to, we divide it by 26 weeks and we watch it very closely, and the unknown is sick time. So we watch it, we get to about $10,000 per pay and we cut off time, and it kind of worked last year, we stayed at budget. With that number, we'll be denying vacation time.
Denying vacation time.
Yes, sir.
I understand that it's a managerial prerogative. I understand it's a slippery slope to never deny time, but the background I come from is, that's obviously not what I look to do. Is there another way to make that happen? So I understand some days are going to be done, right? Everybody can't have off Christmas, feasibility.
We've looked at this ad nauseum from every angle, and the only answer is that there's no way I can see to do it that we would not deny something.
Well, like I said, days are always going to be denied. Everybody can't have 4th of July off. Everybody can't have a whole week off when they want to have off. Is there a way that makes it more workable, more to not approve or to not deny these?
Not, what we're weighing too is the ability to have the fire trucks on the road. And my biggest fear as a chief is there's 46 square miles of any companies covering that. I cannot afford to lose any more. I'm in skeleton crews now. I run 3-man fire engines, and I am emphatically against 3-man fire engines. It burns into my core.
Mhm.
It was here before we got here, and it doesn't follow the norms and the practicalities of the fire service. So what the difference is between maintaining the fire trucks on the road and the ability for the guys to take off. And what my biggest fear is in April or May, we start doling out the time off, and then, the very next week, I'm scarcely, it's been very difficult, and I promise you, I've worked everything from my head. Somebody may have a better answer than me, but I have not found one.
So with the 3 firefighters that we've added, that hasn't helped to put more manpower on to maybe instead of denying 4, maybe now we deny less? And not 4 was an arbitrary number.
We TA on, it's not the exception, the rule is we transfer 2 firefighters per shift over to cover overtime.
Okay.
So even that I show that I have a 4-man engine and a 5-man squad, that's not really true. I'm always down to a 3-man engine in front of me and a 4-man squad.
How many times in the past budget year, have you had to ground engines?
I've never had it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was how often are days denied? I think that's where I'm trying to go.
I think as we get farther into the year, it becomes more.
The reason I ask is because we had 3 firefighters, so we hope to, have more coverage. The salaries go up, obviously the overtime budget's gonna go up, because as the firefighter each makes that next step, that makes their hourly rate obviously go up. I'm just trying to make sure we are where we need to be, so that we're not closing our house.
We were successful in 2022 in maintaining the budget and not closing. My primary fear is a rough season. We have to do any major fire incident falls creates fault action for 4 hours. We have to do that. But that's actually a good strategy. It doesn't even that firefighters are coming down while they're operating and while the other firefighters are operating the fire. So my fear is that if we had too many major incidents, snowstorms, tornadoes, those chip into the same level. So, and maintaining that sick time is always kind of a go. So it's nerve-wracking all year long. It takes up a lot of it.
I know. That's what I worry about, is the contractual time that everybody has off. Is that even able to be covered right now?
Not
with the schedules that we're looking.
Not with these numbers. I don't believe so. And that's, I don't think it, trust me, I think everybody wants to approve everybody's time off. But I think it's, yeah, I do have a hard number on that. I believe it would be, I think it's 2.4 million on top of all vacation work. Not for sick time, callback, or anything. So we're at 2.7, and our average sick time for the last 2 years is 600,000. At 2.1 million. sorry, it's 2.8. It's an addition of, that's a capital fund. So starting at right up the bat with a loss of $600,000.
So it's 2.8 with vacation.
Vacation and birthday.
Cover everybody's contractual vacation and personal.
You have a lot of requests in already for vacation, right? Because I understand that most people put it in the beginning of the year, to try to get that approved. And so I know you and I talked about this, even just last week. So have you given thought to actually laying out, right, what those requests are? Not what's contractually in there, what they may use or what they may request, but what's out there currently,
Yes, we
right?
told,
And seeing how that falls and what the actual overtime for those would be if you were to approve all of those.
yes, we granted all that. I think we would be back to, the issue with the way we do it now is it's structured and it's week by week. So if we were to approve all the vacation time in August, September, October, we would drastically increase how much money we had. That's so respectfully, I think that the way we did it last year is the best system to do the whole year long. We have over 300 requests. So if we were to start filling the 300 requests, I would be very nervous about how much dedicated money we have to put into those time off, and then it would get very hard for me to juggle how much time going into
And that 2.8, that doesn't count other people, those are hours that are going to be carried over, right? Because you're allowed to carry over X amount, right?
There's no carryover. That is just.
So that number is actually, for vacation time, would actually go down a little bit because some of that time is going to be carried over to 2024.
Correct.
Yes, worst.
That's only if everybody decides to use, hey, I just don't want time to work.
Doesn't count for the function. Of course, that's kind of, we see it as a wash. So they don't use what they carry over, and they don't use.
So are we talking about denying when guys get to take vacation, or are we talking about denying guys vacation?
In 2022, we did deny specific vacation days, however, all the vacation time, there was nothing left.
All
We
right.
didn't get, we were worried about that we were going to get, agreements that actually be my time to get time out.
The way the fire service is a little different than some departments, when they start a shift with 25 people, they can safely go down to 15 and deny anything after 15. So those first 10 get approved off. The fire service is one-for-one replacement. If one person takes off, one person has to get brought back in because you can't ride two-man fire engines. So it doesn't matter, when you look at it throughout a year, if everyone puts in all their vacation days in January and February, or it's nicely spread out over 12 months, at the end of the year, it's gonna be the same penny. So saying we're only gonna allow 5 off a day all year, doesn't matter if, we can also allow 20 people off the same day. At the end of the year, it's gonna be the same exact money. So that's why scheduling vacations or doing something like that doesn't save any money because we're one-for-one replacement. If we start a shift with 30 people, if we said we're gonna go down to 20 every day, scheduling vacations works perfectly because we know we can only schedule 10 and the 11th person gets denied off. We're one-for-one replacement, so trying to come up with a plan that allows that is just, it can't happen in the fire service unless we're pumped up with 30 extra.
My only point is that, right, your assumption is assuming that they'll use everything they're issued. And we know that that doesn't always happen, right? So again, that's based on that, and all I want to do is I want you to go ahead and approve everything that you had in, but take a look at it, see what the actual liability would be if you were to approve all of it, right? And say, here's where it maps out, here's where in July, we have a lot of people that are taking off, and we can handle that, right, in terms of moving our trucks on the road and getting replacements. But there may be less that are taking off in November, I don't know, or whatever, pick your month. So, I think it's worthwhile to look at, at least what you have in front of you right now, rather than make assumptions that everybody's going to use everything that they're given under their contract.
Not because too many people are off, because we hit a magic number. Like if we take the 2.6 million overtime, divided by 26 pays, I think that equals 96,000 a pay. As we get close to that 96,000, we save a little bit in reserve for sick time. This week's a great example, if I could go into details. There's 6 days left in the payroll, there's $9,000 left for 6 days. It's not gonna get us there. We have to cut off approving overtime now. So, and if we do that in each pay at the end of the year, we're gonna do just like last year, we're gonna come in at budget. If we just approve everything and overspend this week by 30, 40, 50,000, we have no guess of how we can make the rest of the year work and not get to October, November, and December when everybody submits their overtime days, and now we just went over budget by a few $100,000.
We also, I think, we're up to 6 long-term injuries right now. Some months that we know
There's a
are
lot of
out.
unknowns.
So those unknowns make it very difficult. So trust me, I want a guy to go to Disney World for his time in and be approved for it. We just, in this system, we just don't have the option to do that. Not what we
Is
look
it
at.
because of the schedule?
24/72, sir?
Yeah, I don't know. That's right.
Well, that's a discussion. 24/72's was supposed to reduce sick time, but it didn't. But the I don't know if that's me personally, I don't think that's relevant. I don't think not your question's not relevant. I don't think the schedule is relevant to the issue that we have here.
Would it make it easier to cover the shifts with a different schedule? I know it's something that has to be bargained with, but
I'd like to see another schedule, but I definitely think that's a negotiable item between the employees, and it's very difficult for me to say. But I think what the misnomer is that it's still it's gonna require downtime. There's no way you can have them working a 14-hour shift and that they're not gonna have to pump down. So it's not gonna change the dynamic of anything from my perspective. So I guess the short answer, whether 24/72s or 10s and 14s, the department's gonna run the same way.
good.
Okay. Anybody else, any more questions? Okay, very good. Well, I don't think we have anything else to go over, right?
There's the OEM.
OEM?
But I drastically reduced that. And,
Right.
I'd like to throw one.
Capital,
Okay.
capital.
I think we'll definitely be increased, I know the word increase is a thing, but I think the OEM budget's going to expand, but we also want to expand that with a lot of grant opportunities.
Chief, and the under OEM or the telecommunications fee, that fee, I know it's fairly small, I think it is, but I wrote a note here. Where was that paid out in 2021, 2022, because that was zeroed out?
Did I have to close the budget? That was the previous question.
Oh,
So I-
yeah. Okay, yeah, it's like, yeah, there's no. Budget. Zero. This was 0.7. We're looking at.
Oh, yeah.
No, OEM, I'm just looking at the operation.
Page 4,
Yeah,
OEM.
operation. I found that to be.
We did expand that.
If you
There's a
talk
public,
about this.
public works component, there's a fire component, and a police component. 3 deputies of OEM that are listed, run the whole township, as opposed to one position. Really, someday, maybe decades from now, it'll be its own department. It's a big hot topic. So cell phones, and we got some stuff.
Let's turn to capital.
Prior to
turnout gear was the one, right, that was a larger letter. Yeah, if you can give me a little bit.
Roof
of
Yeah,
information.
turnout gear, we leased turnout gear in a different model for 5 years. We made it very attractive for the needs that were there. So we're moving it to capital. The other issue too, so that rather than leasing it to have payments for 5 years, we will purchase it now.
What's the lifespan of something like that?
It's 5 years front line, 5 years back line, so 10 years.
Thank you.
10 years.
Yes, they three of the there was a big issue with the they were all collected. I can't remember, there was the last time we were being there was an issue with
How many vehicles, what kind of vehicles, and why aren't they? How many that are off the registration? That's
I think that's with the registration issue. Half, probably half of the entire fleet. The issue was when we went over to the town, went to motor vehicles, they wouldn't accept paperwork because there was no sellers in the commission. It wasn't. Accept anything. Came back and that took time, and then they tried to ask commissioners for signatures, which didn't exist. They moved to Florida, they're not around. So then, back to motor vehicles with a letter. Didn't happen. So now the assistant DA is working hard, and she's getting this all taken care of, but it's a time.
How long haven't they been used?
The fire trucks we're using every day. It's just a few vehicles in fire prevention that aren't being used.
How long has it been not been used? Since January? Or is it 3 months?
2.
Well, January 4th.
No, I'm saying 2 vehicles.
Four vehicles.
There's 4 vehicles not being used because we can't get a tow on.
Want to know more about it, and I know that they've been.
Is there inspections not being done because we don't have vehicles? Or any
Just hours are cut by the inspections. Got to work on 3 cars.
no businesses are suffering because of those things?
No, if anybody needs an inspection, we give them that.
I'll get you an update on where we've gotten with this.
Would it help to involve the township attorney? Or is
They
that,
They have involved in inspection, he's been involved in the whole process, from the letter to, just really trying to get, some of the commissioners were able to do that. I mean, we got a list of how many we got, we have the titles for it was.
Imagine showing up to motor vehicles and say, I own this vehicle.
And then we've done letters from legal basically saying, here's the legal status, that there is. So that, there that says you need this, and you need this, and you need this, and so.
it's a unique situation?
So these separate entities before we consolidate.
Right. So, but I'll get you an update. I would imagine she's getting closer, so we're getting close. But
Anything will register next week. Any other capital? I haven't seen anything else in this capital besides the things we already know about, right? So roof replacement. And the upgrade to the one ballroom. District 7, Station 17, which one's that? Is that? That's Nottingham? Okay, so that's the District 17.
So just going back while he's looking at the fire prevention SUVs. So the ask is for 32. What,
So the requester was 80.
requested was 80, recommended is 32, so that's the ask, right? You're asking for 32. All right. What are you getting for $32,000?
It's the same thing.
Kia.
Ford Escape? You can buy one for 32? With the package, with the... Don't need that.
So I noticed an increase in our fire protection.
More in.
It was 550 last year that we had budgeted.
Check that.
Oh, what's it? Yeah.
That's why.
Do you think you'll hit that 612 number again?
A lot of back. Mercer was collecting all the backpacks. Other questions? Very good. Okay, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate your guys' time coming out tonight. And
Thanks for your candor.
No, not a motion to adjourn.
Just trying to...